Former ESPN NFL draft expert Todd McShay now works for The Ringer, and he hasn't put out a mock draft in 2 years. And he just released his today. And it's exciting, and we're going to break it down on today's show. He's got rumors about the Browns, about the Titans, and what the quarterback plan for those teams might be. I'll tell you this much. A QB goes to the Giants in this one. And I want to hear from you. If both of these signal callers are on the board, when the Giants are on the clock at pick number 3, who's your guy? Type C for Cam Ward, type S for Shedeur Sanders. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. We are deep in NFL mock draft season, and McShay, he has released his first one. And let's break it down. With the number 1 overall pick, he has the Tennessee Titans selecting Abdul Carter, the edge rusher out of Penn State. A lot of people have Abdul Carter as a number 1 football player in this class. I thought he was awesome. His tape is great. And I think it makes a lot of sense for him to go number 1 overall, especially when you hear this from Todd McShay saying the wish list, from my understanding, for Mike Borgonzi and the Tennessee Titans would be to trade out of the number 1 overall pick. I think Todd McShay has legit sources. I think he's built that up throughout his career. I'm not saying what he said is gospel, but I'm going to at least listen, and I'm going to take note of what he had to say. And when you just listen to what he says and then you have to really just paint the picture of it, it makes a lot of sense. Because you look at the draft capital for the Tennessee Titans. Yes, they have the number 1 overall pick. Yes, they have the number 35 overall pick. But then they are not on the clock for 70 selections. They have just 2 picks inside the top 101 selections. And I believe a team like the Titans, with new management and a lot of holes on the roster, and now the rumors heating up that they aren't in love with any of these quarterbacks, could they look to trade down, pick up more picks, and build out the roster through the draft? I think it was Borgonzi that I heard a couple of weeks ago saying our currency in the NFL is draft picks. Well, if your only top 100 picks are number 1 and number 3, you don't have much currency. And I could see him trying to add to the bank of picks that the Titans have. Todd McShay expanded on his thoughts and said this. Chad Brinker, the Titans president of football operations, recently stated that the organization, quote, won't pass on a generational talent with the first pick in the NFL draft. I'm told that this is more smoke than fire and that Tennessee's preference is to trade out of number 1 with a team that covets Carter, Travis Hunter, or one of the top QBs. I've actually come to the conclusion is a strong word. I've come to this at this point as we are filming at the end of February. I think the Titans are going to pass on a quarterback at number 1 overall. I don't see Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders becoming Tennessee Titans. If they stick and pick, it'll be Abdul Carter or it'll be Travis Hunter. But I think a trade down is probably the most likely path that this new regime in Tennessee is going to travel down. With Abdul Carter going number 1, number 2, Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner, Mr. Do-It-All, ends up a Cleveland Brown. And I wish you guys could see the smile on my face because if it plays out like this, we are in business. Todd McShay saying this about the Cleveland Browns. I've heard from multiple sources. The Browns are not pulling the trigger at a quarterback here at number 2 overall. And boy, oh boy, would that be sick. Todd McShay saying this on the Cleveland Browns. I've heard from multiple sources that Kirk Cousins could be brought in on the cheap this offseason to serve as a stopgap starter in 2025. In that scenario, Cleveland could target its future at the position on day 2 of the draft or set its sights on the more gifted QB class in 2026. Abdul Carter would be in play here if Tennessee went QB at number 1, especially if the Browns honor Myles Garrett's trade request. Abdul Carter 1, Travis Hunter 2, and the opportunity to have your pick of the litter at the QB spot at number 3 is music to my ears. And I am praying and I am talking to someone up there saying, please, please, please let this play out like this. Let Joe Shane not have to trade up to get his signal caller and let him have the opportunity to pick the guy that he thinks is most fit for the job. We'll tell you who that quarterback is in a second, but I promise you don't want to miss a thing that's happening this offseason here on Giants Now by Chat Sports. We're going to have rumors covered on every team in the NFL draft that it helps apply to the New York Giants and their draft cycle. If we hear anything on the Titans, we hear anything on the Browns, we got you covered, and we're almost at our goal of 66,000 subscribers. James Yoder, boss, CEO here at Chat Sports, told me if we don't get to 66,000 subscribers by the end of the month, he's going to make Giants Now private, which would mean if you're not subscribed, you can't watch it. So change that. For all the people that are not subscribed, take 1 second right now to go down and hit that big red sub button. With the number 3 overall pick in Todd McShay's first mock draft, he has Cam Ward going to the New York Football Giants at pick number 3. I have been begging, I have been hoping, and I've almost put this idea out of my brain because I didn't think it would happen. But the more mock drafts we hear, the more draft stuff that we listen to and people we talk to, it is a real possibility that Cam Ward and Shedeur could be on the board when the Giants are on the clock at 3. And if Cam Ward is there and the Giants pick him, I might just cry tears of joy. If you've been watching this channel, you know since week 0 of college football, when Cam Ward lit up that Florida Gators defense, I told you he was my QB1, and he remains that. And now it seems like he is the consensus pick. McShay with great insight on the Giants saying this: the future is now for general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll. They selected their wide receiver 1 last year in Malik Neighbors. Now they must finally nab a talent worth developing at quarterback. Ward needs a coach like Daboll to drive home the importance of consistent footwork, staying on schedule, and playing within the confines of the offense. Of all of the scenarios that could play out for the Giants in late April and round 1, I truly do believe Cam Ward falling to number 3 and him being the pick would be the best of them all. I know there's been a lot of smoke and a lot of talk about Shedeur Sanders being the Giants' QB1. And I kind of think that might be true. But maybe not. Because I do believe this. Cam Ward feels like a Brian Daboll guy. The more tape I watch, the more workouts that I watch, every workout that Cam Ward puts out on YouTube, him and Shedeur are training together this offseason. Just the juice, the leadership, the competitiveness, the overall drive, and the mindset of Cam Ward, I think aligns a little bit more with Brian Daboll than a guy like Shedeur Sanders. McShay saying this on Dave's quote: Brian Daboll can absolutely develop quarterbacks. I have a great appreciation for Brian Daboll as a coach. I don't know that it's shared with everyone across the league, and obviously the struggles the last couple of years makes it hard to plant my flag on that, but I do. With that said, the reality is the reality, and that reality is they have to win this year. I mean, at least show promise. Not picking at number 3 a year from now. If they're picking at number 3 a year from now, there's a new GM and there's a new head coach for the New York Football Giants. McShay saying this: he assumes the Giants take Cam Ward over Shedeur Sanders. And that's funny because every single person that I've talked to, every article I've read, every tweet I've seen from NFL draft experts say Shedeur Sanders is the Giants guy. But remember when Todd McShay said this back in November? There seems to be a sentiment among people I've talked to that the Giants have a thing for Cam Ward. And he is the only guy I have seen say that Cam Ward is probably the guy the Giants would select. Which brings me to this point. Has the Shedeur Sanders smoke been a mirage for everybody out there? For Joe Schoen to make it seem like they are in love with Shedeur to either raise his draft profile or keep it a secret that the Giants want Cam Ward. The Giants have done a lot of work on Shedeur. We haven't heard much outside of the games that Joe Schoen and a lot of their front office representation have been to. We know they went to a couple of games of Cam Ward's last year. But I remember when the Giants flew to Ann Arbor on Easter Sunday and had a private workout with J.J. McCarthy. Then they had a top 30 visit with him. Then they had another visit with him. And then J.J. McCarthy told Rich Eisen that he believes he's going to the New York Giants. And that was all a smokescreen. Maybe this is as well. I know this for a fact. Of any quarterback in this class, Cam Ward is the only one, in my opinion, to have game-changing traits. I'm talking physical ability. He has a knack for making plays in and out of structure. His playmaking traits will stack up, in my opinion, with some of the best quarterbacks that have come out of the NFL draft here in the past couple of years. McShay adding this. Ward's arm talent, creativity, and ability to create out of structure are unparalleled in this draft class. He's also a demanding leader who holds himself and his teammates to a high standard, which is exactly what this Giants organization needs at the QB position. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. A leader, a winner, and a culture changer, and someone that can establish culture. Week 17 wins against the Indianapolis Colts to get your third win of the season. That doesn't establish culture. Culture is created once Cam Ward is selected. When he goes to rookie minicamp, then he goes to OTAs, then he goes to minicamp, then he goes to training camp. That is when culture is created. That's where it starts, not a worthless Week 17 win. Cam Ward is clearly QB1 for me. He's been that all year long. I think Shedeur is firmly slotted into QB2, and I would be fine if he is the pick at number 3 if Cam Ward is off the board. The Giants need a quarterback like Cam Ward, but they also need a leader like Cam Ward. I always will say I understand and maybe even get, and maybe it was the right decision, but it has sure looked like it was the wrong decision to let Saquon Barkley go. The thing the Giants missed the most with Barkley out the building, obviously he's a talented player, but he was the leader. He was the captain. He was the face of the organization. They don't have any leaders on offense right now. And Cam Ward, he could take over that locker room. Mario Cristobal, his coach at Miami, spoke on Cam Ward and his leadership, and it gave me chills. Says in every aspect, he's magical as a player as he is as a leader. He's an alpha dog, and his personality, his mentality, they match what he does on the field. When you go out and you put those things together, the strength of his leadership grows. He's brought a lot to the table. Cam Ward is a culture changer and a culture creator. The Giants need someone like him. I've said this before, and I truly do believe it. I'm not saying Cam Ward is as talented as Jaden Daniels because I think he might be a generational player. But what Jaden Daniels did for the Washington Commanders when it comes to creating a new identity, bringing a winning attitude to the organization, and overhauling the culture, I believe, not saying he's going to lead the Giants to the NFC Championship game in his rookie year, I believe Cam Ward can do for the Giants what Jaden Daniels has done for the Commanders when it comes to being a leader and overhauling the losing culture that right now is thriving inside 1925 Giants Drive. He's done it every stop of the way. He was great at Wazoo. But before Wazoo, he went to Incarnate Word in San Antonio, Texas, a D1 AA school. And he played so well that he moved on to Wazoo in 2022. Then he dominated in 2023. Then he went on to Miami, changed the culture at Incarnate Word, changed the culture at Wazoo, then changed the culture at Miami. He can get it done in every aspect of this game and what you want out of a quarterback. His big-time throw percentage is off the charts. He is the ultimate creator and playmaker. He is someone that can make every single throw. He is someone that rises to competition. And I'll tell you this much. If you are worried that he didn't play in his bowl game, you need to grow up. You're the immature one. Some things that I look at his scouting report. Best playmaker in the class. In structure, out of structure, best quarterback when it comes to throwing on the run. The arm slots are awesome, but he's able to roll left, rip it back right. I hate saying this because this is not fair to Cam Ward. It's not fair to him. He's got a little Mahomie in him. He's an alpha. He's a leader. And his confidence, he oozes confidence. Sometimes cockiness, but you know what? No great athlete ever became a great athlete because they doubted himself. He believes in himself, and I want that. And I truly think he is just scratching the surface as a quarterback. You know why? Because he ran a triple option his senior year in high school. Then he went to Incarnate Word, then Wazoo in Miami. I think he is just becoming the player that he is going to be. He's not perfect by any means. I want to make that abundantly clear. His ball placement on gimme throws needs to improve. His, I would say, not aggressiveness, but he needs to be a little bit more on time and just, I will say, aggressive with his footwork. Sometimes he's too lackadaisical in that department. And he always Doesn't always. He doesn't need to always play hero ball. He needs to understand when the juice is worth the squeeze. Who else did we hear about that as a quarterback that was too aggressive in the Big 12? Then he sat for a year, and now he's going to be maybe the best quarterback of all time. And like all young quarterbacks, pre- and post-snap reads, they need to improve. If I'm betting on any quarterback in this class, it's Cam Ward. I'll say this, though. I believe in Shedeur, and I believe in Cam Ward. I think either of those guys could be successful if you build a team around them. It's on Brian Dable. McShay believes in him. I believe in him, but I'm running out of belief. It's year 4. Go get it done. Grade the pick of Cam Ward to the Giants if he falls to number 3. A, B, C, D, or F. I want to hear from you. I can't give it anything but an A. He's my number 1 quarterback. He's been my dream target since week 0 of college football. And I think that he has the opportunity to be a special, special player in the National Football League. It would be a home run pick, and then it would be on the Giants to do everything else. No rookie quarterback can succeed with lousy parts around him. Build up an ecosystem and a universe around him that can bring the best out of a rookie quarterback. Joe Shane, go get him an offensive lineman at right guard. Go get him a weapon. And Brian Dable, make the game easy for the young man. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG, @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up, and let's go Big Blue.